The unexpected gift. The stars outside the big window were cold and silent. Human Ambassador Ethan Cole stood in the middle of the alien hall, feeling out of place. The Zalari Palace was famous for its golden lights and floating crystals, but tonight, something felt wrong. The air was heavy, and the Zalari guards did not smile. Ethan had traveled across the galaxy for peace talks. Humans and Zalari had fought for many years, and both sides were tired. The Zalari king, tall and wrapped in blue robes, walked onto the stage. His golden eyes were hard as stone. He was holding a small golden box in one hand. The audience grew quiet. Everyone expected a speech or maybe a treaty. But instead, the king said, "To show my trust, I offer you my daughter, Princess Lyra, as a gift to the human people." A sharp gasp filled the room. The crowd was stunned. Princess Lyra stepped forward, her silver hair shining in the palace lights. She wore a simple white dress, and her face was proud, but there was sadness in her eyes. Everyone had heard the rumors Lyra was infertile. In Zalari culture, it was the greatest shame. Ethan felt a twist in his chest. He had not asked for a princess. He wanted peace, not a hostage. But the king smiled coldly, as if daring Ethan to refuse. Lyra walked with her head held high. Her steps were silent, but her hands shook just a little. She stood next to Ethan and looked at him, her expression unreadable. The king spoke again. "Let this gift show our wish for peace. My daughter will live with humans as their own." There was more going on here, Ethan knew. He could see it in the way the king stared at Lyra, a coldness, a distance. The king wanted her gone, but also wanted to shame her. By giving her away as a gift, he told the whole galaxy that she was worthless to her own people, the human crew standing behind Ethan did not know what to say. One whispered, "Isn't this wrong?" Another said, "The king must hate her." Ethan stayed calm, but inside he felt anger. The ceremony ended quickly. No one cheered. The king waved his hand, and the guards led Ethan and Lyra out. Lyra never looked back at her father. In the small transport ship, Lyra sat by herself, staring out at the stars. She did not speak, even when Ethan tried to ask her if she was comfortable. The other humans watched her, some with pity, some with suspicion. Was she really a gift, or was she a spy? That night, as the human ship traveled away from the Zalari planet, strange things began to happen. First, the lights flickered. Then, the security cameras went out in the hallways. The crew grew tense. Someone whispered, "Maybe the princess brought bad luck." Ethan decided to check on Lyra himself. He walked down the empty hall and stopped outside her door. Before he could knock, he heard a faint noise, a soft cry. He opened the door. Lyra was sitting on the floor, hugging her knees, her silver hair hiding her face. She was crying, quietly, as if she had done it 1,000 times before. Ethan wanted to help, but he did not know what to say. Suddenly, the ship's alarm blared, red lights flashing everywhere. "Intruder alert!" came a voice over the speaker. Ethan pulled out his small pistol and rushed into the hallway. He saw shadows moving fast. Someone was trying to break into Lyra's room. Ethan fired a warning shot. The attackers, dressed in black, turned and ran. But one tried to grab Lyra. She fought back, surprising everyone with her strength and speed. Ethan tackled the attacker and knocked him out. The rest escaped into the dark. Lyra stood up, breathing hard, her eyes blazing with anger and fear. For a moment, she did not look like a gift. She looked like a fighter, someone who had survived much worse. The crew was shaken. Ethan ordered everyone to secure the ship. He turned to Lyra, finally understanding a little of her pain. She was not just a gift, not just a princess. She was in danger, and so was everyone on board. As the ship returned to quiet, Ethan watched Lyra. He knew that nothing about this gift was simple. The king's plan was bigger than anyone realized. And whatever secret Lyra carried, it was only the beginning. The stars outside the window kept shining, cold and silent. But inside the ship, everything had changed. The princess's secret. Human spaceship floated quietly through space, but inside, everyone was on edge. The attack on Princess Lyra had shaken the whole crew. People whispered in the halls, worried that the Zalari king's gift had brought danger to their ship. Ethan could not sleep. He kept replaying the attack in his mind. Why would someone risk everything just to take Lyra back? And why did the king call her infertile if she was still so important? He knew something was wrong. He had to find the truth, early. The next morning, Ethan walked down the silent corridor to Lyra's room. The guards at her door stood alert. Ethan nodded, and they stepped aside. He entered quietly. Lyra was sitting on the bed, her back straight, her silver hair shining in the light. Her face was calm, but her eyes were tired. She glanced at Ethan, but did not speak. Ethan sat down across from her. For a long moment, they just looked at each other. Finally, he spoke softly. "Why did they try to take you, Lyra? You're supposed to be infertile. Why risk so much for you?" Lyra looked away, silent. Her hands trembled in her lap. She seemed to fight with herself, not sure if she should speak or stay quiet. At last, she sighed. "Because I am not what everyone believes," she whispered. "The king lied." Ethan's heart pounded. He leaned forward, voice low. "What do you mean?" Lyra finally looked at him, her eyes shining with old pain. "My father told everyone I am infertile so that no one would try to marry me. He was afraid of political rivals using me, but it is a lie. I can have children, just not with any Zalari." Ethan was shocked. "Why not?" Lyra smiled sadly. "I am different. My blood is mixed. My mother was not a true Zalari. She was from another world with old secrets. That is why my father is afraid. He does not want the old blood to rule the Zalari throne." Ethan was silent, trying to understand. The king had made the galaxy believe his own daughter was useless, just to protect his own power. "So you could have children, but only with a human?" Ethan asked quietly. Lyra nodded. "That is why my father gave me to you. He thought he was getting rid of a problem, but he's afraid too. He knows if I ever have a child, that child could be special, someone who could unite both sides." Before Ethan could say more, a loud knock sounded at the door. The human doctor entered, holding a small scanner. "I need to check the princess's health after last night's attack," she said quickly. Lyra looked nervous but nodded. Doctor scanned Lyra and frowned. "Strange. Your heart rate is different from before. Have you been feeling sick?" Lyra hesitated. "A little," she admitted. "But I thought it was just stress." Ethan and the doctor exchanged a look. The doctor spoke softly. "Princess, I need to run more tests, just to be sure." Lyra nodded, and the doctor left, deep in thought. Ethan stood to leave, but Lyra stopped him. "Will you protect me, Ethan? If my father finds out I am not infertile, he will never let me live. And now that I am with humans, I fear he will do anything to silence me." Ethan met her eyes. For the first time, he saw hope mixed with fear. "I promise," he said, "no one will hurt you while I am here." Suddenly, the ship shook. The alarms blared again, and the captain's voice came over the intercom. "Enemy ship detected. Shields up. All crew to battle stations." Ethan rushed to the control room. On the screen, a Zalari warship was speeding toward them. The king's men had come for Lyra, and maybe for Wardot in the medical bay. Lyra waited. Alone. She pressed a hand to her stomach, feeling something she couldn't explain. Was it fear? Or was something else growing inside her, something that could change the fate of both worlds? As the enemy ship drew closer, one thing became clear. Lyra's secret was more dangerous than anyone had guessed. And now, the real fight was about to begin. The king's fury inside the human spaceship, chaos reigned. Red lights flashed, sirens screamed. Crew members hurried down the halls, some clutching weapons, others helping each other into armored suits. In the control room, Ethan barked orders, his voice tight with worry. Everyone's eyes kept flicking to the screen, where the massive Zalari warship grew larger by the second. Outside, the Zalari ship blocked their path like a giant shadow. Its weapons were charged. Its message was short and sharp: surrender Princess Lyra now, or face destruction. Ethan clenched his fists. He had seen enough war to know the Zalari were not bluffing. He opened a secure line to the alien ship. The Zalari king's face appeared cold, proud, and filled with rage. "Return my daughter to me," the king growled, "or you will suffer." Ethan didn't flinch. "You gave her to us as a gift. Now you want her back?" "Why?" The king's eyes blazed. "She has something that belongs to me. She is not for humans to use." Ethan's mind raced. He realized the king must have learned the truth, that Lyra could have a child and heir. Ethan tried to stall. "She is safe here. No harm will come to her. But we will not return her as if she is just a thing." The king's mouth twisted. In anger, "You know nothing of Zalari law. She is mine." Back in the medical bay, Lyra paced the small room. She could hear the alarms and feel the fear in the air. Her mind raced. The doctor returned, pale and worried. "Princess, the tests are clear. You are pregnant," she whispered. Lyra froze. The truth hit her like thunder. She had thought it impossible. She was afraid, but somewhere deep inside, she also felt hope. The doctor touched her arm gently. "This child, your child, could change everything. A symbol of both worlds." Lyra shook her head. "Or a reason for war." At that moment, the ship jolted violently. A warning flashed on every screen. "Zalari boarding party detected." Ethan ran from the control room, grabbing a weapon. He called to his team, "Protect the princess at all costs." He raced toward the medical bay, heart pounding. On his way, he saw crew fighting Zalari soldiers who had cut through the hull. Energy blasts flew down the halls. The ship trembled. Lyra was not hiding. She stood tall, her eyes fierce, as the door to the medical bay slid open, and two Zalari warriors rushed in. "Come with us," they hissed. Lyra backed away, clutching her stomach. "No, I am not property. I am not a tool." Ethan burst in, firing his weapon. The room filled with chaos blasts of light, shouts, smoke. Ethan shielded Lyra with his body. One warrior fell. The other tried to grab Lyra, but she fought back, using moves she had learned as a child. The battle ended as quickly as it began. The Zalari soldiers lay defeated. Lyra stood beside Ethan, breathing hard but unbroken. Ethan quickly closed the doors and locked them. "We don't have much time. The king will send more." Lyra looked at him, tears in her eyes but her voice strong. "Ethan, I'm pregnant. My father will kill to control this child. I don't want to be a pawn. I want my child to be free." Ethan took her hand. "We'll get you to safety, I promise." But in the dark halls of the ship, more Zalari waited. Spies moved among the human crew, ready to betray for the king's reward. No one could be trusted. And above them, the king watched every move, his fury growing. He wanted his daughter and the heir no matter the cost. The ship drifted in space, surrounded by danger. Inside, hope and fear battled for control. Lyra's secret had become a weapon, and now, the whole galaxy wanted it. The air revealed silence had fallen over the human ship, but it was the heavy kind full of fear. Shadows danced along the corridors as security teams patrolled, double-checking every lock and camera. The crew whispered, nervous eyes darting whenever Lyra's name came up. Everyone felt the pressure. The king's wrath, the danger from spies. And now, the secret growing inside the princess. Ethan barely slept. He watched the cameras and checked the doors himself, not trusting anyone else. Each hour, he worried the king would attack again, or worse, send someone from inside the human crew to finish the job. He knew, deep down, the biggest threat was not from outside, but from someone close. In the quiet of the medical bay, Lyra sat on her narrow bed, clutching the scan in her hand. Her heart was racing. She read the words again and again. Pregnant. Human Zalari hybrid possible. She never imagined this would happen, not after everything her father said. She was supposed to be broken, empty, just a political gift. But now she was carrying a new life. A life that could unite two worlds. Or destroy both. The doctor, a middle-aged woman with tired eyes, leaned close and whispered, "We can keep this secret for now. But soon, your body will change. The crew will notice." Lyra's hands trembled. "I'm afraid for the child. My father will stop at nothing." The doctor nodded, her face sad. The king's men might already know. The medical systems are not as secure as we thought. Suddenly, an alert sounded. Ethan's voice came over the speaker. "Attention. A spy has been caught near the engine room." He was trying to send a message off ship. Lyra's heart skipped. She jumped from her bed and ran to the door, begging the guards to let her see Ethan. They hesitated, but her fear convinced them. Moments later, Ethan arrived sweaty, out of breath, holding a tiny communication device. He showed it to Lyra. The spy confessed. "Your father has offered a huge reward for you, or proof of your pregnancy. Someone on this ship almost betrayed you." Lyra's eyes went wide with shock and pain. "But why would any human do that?" Ethan sighed. "Money, fear, promises of power. The king knows how to buy loyalty, even from our own." Just then, the lights flickered and a deep, rumbling noise filled the ship. The engine stuttered. The doctor's eyes widened. "They're trying to sabotage us from within." Panic spread among the crew. Ethan pulled Lyra and the doctor into a secure room. He locked the doors and checked his weapon. "We need to act fast," he said. "If the king gets you or your baby, everything will change. He'll use the child for his own rule, or destroy it if he feels threatened." Lyra pressed her palm to the cold wall. "What do I do? Run forever?" Ethan shook his head. "You don't have to face this alone. But we need to decide. Do we tell the crew the truth and ask for their help? Or do we run and try to hide from everyone?" The doctor leaned in, her voice urgent but kind. "If you hide, you will always be hunted. But if you stand and show the galaxy the truth, maybe you'll find allies you never expected." Lyra stood tall, her eyes shining with new strength. "I won't be a secret anymore. If my child is hope for both our peoples, then I will not be silent." But even as she spoke, the ship shook again, this time from a blast outside. The king's warship was firing warning shots, demanding surrender. Over the com, the king's voice boomed, echoing through every room. "Surrender. Lyra now, or no one on your ship will survive." As the crew looked at Lyra, seeing the fear and hope in her eyes, they realized her secret could change the galaxy. Some wanted to give her up to save themselves. Others, inspired by her courage, prepared to fight for her. In that moment, Lyra understood. Her baby was not just a child. The air inside her was a spark, one that could set the universe on fire. Escape from the shadows, the ship felt like a cage. Every wall seemed to have eyes and every shadow could hide a traitor. Rumors about Princess Lyra's secret spread through the crew like a virus. Some people wanted to protect her. Others, frightened by the king's threats, whispered about handing her over. Tension twisted every conversation. No one slept easily. Ethan moved Lyra to a new hiding place every few hours. He trusted only a handful of people, those who had risked their lives to save Lyra before. Even the doctor watched the doors nervously. The king's bounty was so large that even the poorest crew member could become rich for a single act of betrayal, but the danger was not just from the crew. The Zalari warship circled them like a predator. Each time Ethan looked out the window, he saw flashes of blue light Zalari landing pods, slipping closer, searching for a way inside. One night, as silence pressed on the ship, a coded message appeared on Ethan's private screen. The king's mercenaries are on board. They know about the child. You have less than 1 hour. Ethan's blood ran cold. He raced to Lyra's room, only to find the door wide open and a guard unconscious on the floor. Panic stabbed through him. "Lyra?" he called, his voice sharp. No answer. Down a dark corridor, Lyra ran barefoot, clutching her stomach. She could hear heavy boots behind her, mercenaries in black, their faces hidden by helmets. Their orders were clear: capture the princess, or kill her if she resisted. Lyra ducked through a maintenance hatch, heart pounding. She remembered Ethan's advice: never move in a straight line. Always look for escape routes. She crawled through metal tunnels, the sounds of pursuit echoing behind her. Ethan caught up to the mercenaries just as they cornered Lyra near the engine room. With no time to think, he opened fire. Blue lights flashed, smoke filled the corridor, and Lyra screamed as a shot ricocheted off the wall. The doctor, hiding nearby, grabbed Lyra and pulled her through a service door. Ethan covered their escape, using every trick he knew from old battles. He blocked the mercenaries with a steel barrier, then hurried after Lyra and the doctor. The three of them raced through hidden passages, alarms wailing across the ship. Lyra gasped for breath. The baby was coming, faster than anyone expected. "We can't run much longer," she cried. Ethan nodded. "We have to get off the ship, now." Reaching the hangar bay, Ethan found an old, half-broken shuttle. He started the engines while the doctor helped Lyra inside. Just as they prepared to leave, a crew member burst in, weapon drawn. "You're not going anywhere," he shouted, hoping for the king's reward. Lyra looked up, tears in her eyes but fire in her voice. "You want to sell me? Sell your own soul first." Ethan stepped between Lyra and the traitor. "If you want her, you'll have to go through me." A tense second passed. The traitor hesitated, then ran as more gunfire rang out in the corridor. Ethan closed the shuttle door and fired the engines. The ship shook as the shuttle blasted free, slipping through a hole in the ship's shields just before they closed. Alarms and angry shouts faded behind them as they shot into the cold, open stars. Lyra wept quietly, the doctor's arms around her. Ethan piloted the shuttle toward a secret human outpost, hoping they could hide and prepare for what came next. The human ship was in chaos, the king's agents searching every deck. Ahead, the future was uncertain, chased by two worlds, running for the life of a child who could unite or destroy them all. But for the first time, Lyra felt hope. She was no longer just a gift or a problem to be hidden. She was a mother, a fighter, and her story was only just beginning. The king's ultimatum: the small shuttle drifted through deep space, hidden in the shadow of a cold, lifeless moon. Inside, silence filled the air. Ethan, Lyra, and the doctor sat in the dark, each lost in their thoughts, listening for any sound that might mean danger had found them. Lyra's body ached with exhaustion. She pressed a shaking hand to her stomach, feeling the strange rhythm of a new life growing inside her. Each moment was a mixture of hope and fear. The baby was coming soon. Every hour, Lyra worried that the king's ships would appear and destroy them before she could even see her child. Ethan watched the empty space through the window. He barely slept, his mind running wild with plans and worries. Their stolen shuttle was weak and low on supplies. They could not stay hidden forever. He knew the king would never give up. The doctor whispered, "We need shelter and medicine. Lyra is too weak." Suddenly, the ship's old radio crackled with a voice. "Human shuttle, identify yourself. This is Outpost 9. You are trespassing." Ethan's heart raced. He quickly sent a message. "This is Ambassador Cole. We need help, urgent medical, emergency, and royal asylum." There was a pause, then another voice came. "Outpost 9 is under blockade by Zalari forces. You are in danger here." Ethan's eyes widened. Through the small window, he could see the glint of Zalari warships hiding near the outpost, silent, waiting like hungry wolves. Before Ethan could decide what to do, a new message echoed through the shuttle. This time, it was the king himself. His voice, cold and powerful, broadcast to every human and Zalari channel in the sector. "Ethan Cole, I know you have my daughter. Listen, well-return Princess Lyra to me, and I will spare the humans at Outpost 9. Refuse, and I will destroy everyone who helps you. You have 1 hour to decide." Lyra's eyes filled with tears. She shook her head in disbelief. He would kill hundreds just to get me back. The doctor took Lyra's hand. "He is not a father. He is a king who fears losing his throne." Ethan's face hardened with anger. "No one owns you, Lyra. He cannot control your future with threats." But Lyra was scared. She saw the faces of innocent people in her mind, men, women, children who would be hurt if she stayed free. The radio buzzed again. Outpost 9's commander pleaded, "Please, Ambassador. If you do not surrender the princess, we are all doomed." Ethan turned to Lyra. "We can't trust him. Even if you return, he'll never let you or the baby live." Lyra's breath came quickly. She felt trapped. Her choice could mean life or death for many. "What should I do, Ethan? I am so tired of running. But I can't let innocent people die for me." Ethan knelt beside her, his eyes steady. "You are more than a princess. You are hope for both worlds. If you give up now, he will only hurt you and your child. If we fight, maybe others will see the truth." Suddenly, a young Zalari soldier sent a secret message to the shuttle. "My name is Ril, son of your mother's old friend. I serve on my king's ship, but I do not wish to see blood. If you stand against the king in public, there are many among my people who will support you, but you must act now." Lyra's eyes brightened with the first spark of courage she had felt in days. "If I speak to the galaxy, maybe I can save lives. Maybe I can stop this war." The doctor nodded. "Your story is powerful. The galaxy must see the real you, not the king's lies." Ethan helped Lyra to her feet. Together, they prepared. A message for all to hear. As the hour drew close, Lyra's voice shook the stars. She declared her truth to both human and Zalari worlds, telling everyone who she was, and the new life she carried. The king's ultimatum hung heavy in the air. But for the first time, it was not just fear that filled the hearts of those listening. It was hope. The princess's choice. All across the galaxy, millions watched their screens in silence. Humans and Zalari alike gathered in crowded rooms, on dusty outposts, in royal halls, and broken ships. Even on distant mining worlds, people stopped work to listen. On every screen, Princess Lyra appeared, her silver hair shining, her eyes brave. Standing beside Ethan and the doctor, her voice was soft but steady as she spoke. "My name is Lyra. I am not broken. I am not a tool or a gift. I am a daughter, a mother, and I am free. My father's fear cannot decide my future. Today, I choose for myself and for my child." Her words spread like a spark in dry grass. Even on the king's flagship, his own guards lowered their weapons and watched, uncertain. The king's face twisted with rage as he realized his power was slipping away. Suddenly, the king broke into the broadcast, his voice echoing through every speaker. "Lyra, surrender now. No one will protect you from my wrath." But Lyra lifted her head and looked directly into the camera. "I am not afraid of you anymore, Father. I am not alone. The galaxy can see you now, and the galaxy will judge." For a moment, the king seemed larger than life, a shadow over every world. His warships glowed in the dark, weapons aimed and ready. He commanded his forces, "Destroy the outpost. Show them what happens to traitors." But nothing happened. On each Zalari ship, crew members hesitated. The words of Lyra, the truth about her child, and the king's cruelty had reached even their hearts. One by one, the captains refused the order. "We will not harm innocents," one said. "This is not our war anymore," said another. On the outpost, Lyra's labor pains began. The doctor worked quickly, helped by humans and even a young Zalari nurse who had switched sides after hearing the princess's message. Ethan held Lyra's hand as she fought through the pain, whispering encouragement. Outside, the king's forces started to fall apart. Some ships broke away. Others sent messages of support. The king screamed, but his commands were ignored. He was no longer a ruler. He was just a bitter man, alone in his anger. Then, with a cry, Lyra's child was born. A perfect baby with silver blue eyes and a soft curl of hair, a symbol of both races, human and Zalari. Cheers broke out on the outpost and all across the galaxy. People wept and clapped and laughed. Ethan smiled through tears, and the doctor whispered, "This child is hope. This child is peace." Lyra, holding her newborn, spoke once more to the watching worlds. "I give you my child. Not as a prize, but as a promise. We are stronger together than apart. Let no one king or president tear us apart again." The king's reign was over. He vanished into history, his power broken by his own cruelty. Lyra and Ethan became symbols of a new future, one where love and courage could unite even the oldest enemies. And somewhere in the stars, a new family began, a mother, a father, and a child who would change everything.